Hi, Iz. Hope you're doing well. December 29th, 2024. We're nearing the end of the year. I was thinking about doing a video about my favorite releases of the year, but when I did that last year, not many people watched it. And I've done videos on most of my favorite albums of the year so far. If you go back and you just look at my videos from this year, if I focused on any one album, most of those are in my favorites of the year. So you can go check that out. I'm gonna kind of do a combination of my favorite records of the year slash new, newer, new-ish records that I've purchased this year. Because for the most part, most of these are my favorites of the year. That's why I bought them. As I've mentioned before, I don't buy a lot of records anymore. I'm finding it hard to spend money on records. Prices are going up and things are available on streaming platforms. And as I get older, I'm just veering away from buying as many records. So, but I do have a big stack of records right here. I'm not even going to show all of them. But I haven't done a newish release video for months. It's been a long time. So I'm going to go old school today, old school for me. And I'm going to sit here in this chair and show records like I used to. So those of you who are fans and fetishists of staring at vinyl, we're going old school today. I'm going to show some records. Thank you to those of you who showed up to my live stream the other day. I did a live stream a few days ago. It went all right. I don't know. Listen, I don't really love doing live streams. While I'm doing the live streams, I kind of enjoy it, and then the minute I click off, I start thinking of all the little passive aggressive pot shots that some people took on me, and it just happens when you do live streams. These turds and shitheads show up, and you can see them a mile away. They're always kind of the same person. Like they show up and you haven't noticed them before. They haven't shown up in your live streams before, and they're really nice at first. And then as the live stream progresses or devolves, they start taking these little pot shots at you. They start insulting you, and these little, like, at first you think they're just, at first that you think they're just like teasing you a little bit, and they probably are, but by the time of the live stream, they're just straight up taking pot shots at you. So fuck you to the few of you that were doing that. And the other thing too is those people they want to try to commandeer the conversation, which is super annoying. They just ask you random questions and they keep asking them over and over, and they just end up having a little chat in your live stream. And the trick is like, if you only have 15, 20 people in there and there are only 3 people talking, there's not a lot you can do. But that happened a few days ago. I thought after the live stream happened, I thought, well, that was all right. And then I turned it off and I'm like, actually, no, that sucked. A lot of it was very annoying. The regulars that showed up, Liz and John and Razmix, I love you guys. I can trust you guys. I'm not talking to you guys. I hope you guys know that. But there are a couple of new names that popped up that were trying to commandeer the conversation. And man, that gets boring. And also, guys, listen up, okay? I'm going to be salty here for a minute and rant a bit. I don't give a single flying fuck inside a rolled donut about AI. Every fucking time I do a live stream, someone asks me about what my thoughts on AI. Like, what is it about my face where you would think I'd give a fuck? I don't give a single shit about AI. Never have I mentioned it on my channel. Never have I expressed any interest in it whatsoever. I don't give a fuck about AI. Okay? So anybody who suggests or thinks to ask me about AI, know that my answer is going to be, I don't give a single piss. I don't give one flaming buffalo dick about AI. What the fuck? Why? What am I, fucking Stephen Hawking over here? Why do I care about AI? Jesus. It's one more thing that humanity's going to fuck up. What do you want me to say? Jesus. We're talking about movies and music over here, and some fucking moron asks me about how I feel about AI. And then if I don't answer the question, they just keep asking. Listen, if I don't answer your question, there's a damn good reason for it. Okay? Understand this. I'm only talking to like a very small percentage of you guys, but some of you guys just fucking work my last nerve, man. It's the main reason I don't want to do live streams. You guys always sneak in. You're like little cockroaches, like scurrying through a crack in the wall. And I'm taping up the wall and I'm pushing you back in and I'm spraying you with Raid and I'm doing everything I can to circumvent your existence on my channel and that you still get through. This is why I don't do live streams. It's annoying. And it's hard to describe. I have a very thick skin. People can have whatever opinion they want about me, but what bugs me is when they become these tough guys when they're behind a keyboard on the internet. They never asked me this shit, these kinds of questions. They'd never treat me this way if they saw me in person. They'd never do that. They only do it when they're behind a keyboard. So I don't really care about anybody's opinion about me personally. That doesn't make any difference. It's the fact that people turn into bullies when they're online. That's what drives me nuts. So yeah, I've said this before, I know, but I don't know that I'll ever be doing another live stream. It just takes one or two people to fuck up your mind when it comes to shit like that. And I see it. I see it a mile away. This is not your channel to commandeer. You want to go commandeer a topic and completely steer all topics into the land of void and nothingness that you want to talk about, then go start your own channel. But don't fucking bother me on mine. And I hope that the people that were in my live stream the other day are watching this video. Because, yeah, I'm talking to you. And if you want to carry this further, I'll just call you out. I've done it before and I'll do it again. And the great thing about having a channel like mine is that my audience, who loves me and truly loves what I do, they stick up for me. They'll go after the trolls, and that's what I love, and thank you for that. But I will call you out. I don't give a single fuck about calling somebody out. If you're just going to act like a bully and a turd and a cunt on my channel, and you know who you are, you probably don't know who you are. You probably think you're funny, and you probably think that every little stupid thought rattling around in your empty head is brilliant, and you're just going to keep hammering on the same thought until I respond to it over and over and over again. You probably think you're witty and cool. Now, you're just a fuckhead, and you're obnoxious, and yeah. You know, I know I'm ranting, but again, this is going to be an old school video, but my initial reaction to bullies online is to attack them, is to eviscerate them. But I try to not do that because I don't want to, you know, as hard as this is to believe, I don't want to trigger people or someone live during a live stream. But I wanted to the other day. I really did. I clicked off because I was like, I got to get out of here before I just go nuclear. Maybe that would be good for my channel. I'd actually go viral. Did you see this guy eviscerating this turd on the internet? Maybe I should do that. And I know probably the majority of you who were on the live stream, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But on my end, you know, I see all the comments that pop up and then I either block them or I let them through. And so I don't share the ones that I block. Maybe I should, but anyway, there are a couple of you that give me a break. Seriously. You fucking basement dwellers. Go somewhere else and bother somebody else. All right. Enough ranting. Let's get to it. These are some of, not all, but some records that I've purchased, you know, really in the last 6 months or so. I have bought more than Well, I bought more than I thought, although I bought much less than I normally buy. In fact, this year is probably, I would say, I've probably bought the least amount of records in my life, or at least until I was old enough to buy them. It's been decades since I have bought this least amount of records in my life. I just haven't been doing it. It's not, maybe I'll change. Maybe I'll change that approach this year or this coming year, 2025. But um, yeah, I just haven't really. I haven't had I haven't had the passion this year so much for records. I still have the passion for the music. Uh, Also, I was gonna just to quickly mention this. I mentioned this on the live stream a little bit, but I was gonna make a video where I was commenting on like Pitchfork's best albums of the year or Rolling Stone's best albums of the year, but I was reading through it and I'm like, why do I want to big up these guys or promote them at all by talking to them, even by talking shit about them? Like I was looking at their list and it was just the worst ever. Pitchfork especially. I don't know. Well, I do know what they have their agendas, and it doesn't have they don't review music for music. They review albums for other things. And I think generally that's just the case with a lot of online journalism is that they don't want to review the music. They want to review pronouns and they want to review what people's sexuality is and what they're not they're reviewing the current mores. They're not reviewing music. And they just review the same shit over and over again. I was looking at again, especially Pitchfork's list. I mean, it was a joke. I was laughing. I mean, it was unintentionally funny. I'll give it that. But yeah, I was looking at their top 10 records and it was just like, you got to be kidding me. Like, who listens to this crap? Go read the list for yourself. Again, I don't want to talk too long about Pitchfork because fuck them. They're ridiculous. But who is listening to this stuff? I don't know a single person in my life of any age who listens to this shit. Um, but then again, you realize that the people who get hired at Pitchfork they're not hired for their musical knowledge. They're hired for their checklisting. They listen to music that doesn't have anything to do with, moving your heart or your soul or your mind with musical ability. It has to do with, are they queer? They're not? Okay, well then I'm not listening to it. How many pronouns do they have? Do they have three pronouns or five pronouns? The more pronouns, the better. Otherwise, I'm not listening to it. Are they non-binary? They're not? Then this album has no place in our list. And I'm right. Don't fucking roll your eyes. Okay? Hardly. The thing about wokeism is, and the thing that sucks about a lot of wokeism is that you're not allowed to question it. You can't even have a conversation about it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm questioning it hardcore. And this is coming from a hardcore liberal fella. Okay, it's not like I'm some right-wing Christian conservative. No, you're looking at a far, far left um, independent thinker. And I know what I see, and I see a lot of bullshit when it comes to art. We're not allowed to question certain things in art. And to me, that's the entire reason why we have art, is to be able to question it. And when you lose the ability to do that, then you lose artistic expression in every form, in every avenue, in every way. So I am questioning it. Go look at the Pitchfork list if you need any more reason or questioning me about my questioning of it. It's a joke list. And anybody who thinks that these are the best albums of the year, it just is ignorant. They're not listening. They're not listening to music. They're listening to albums for other things. And that is my problem with current musical criticism as it stands live here at the end of 2024 on the internet. It's a joke. But luckily for you, people like me exist. Yeah, I'm going to just come off all arrogant right now. I'm going to review music because I love it, because I like it, because I think it's worth listening to. And I don't give a shit how queer you are or how non-binary you are or any of those things. You can be those things, totally fine with me. I have zero problem with it. I've never had an issue with it. But can you imagine a world where you're so fucking depressed and miserable that you only listen to albums that come from people like that? Can you imagine all of the great shit that you would miss out on? Man, what a depressing world that would be. Some of these albums, I'm sure, are made by queer people and homosexual people and non-binary people and people with a dozen pronouns. I really don't care. People can do that stuff. I'm not railing against that stuff. I'm railing against thought control. That's what I rail against. Thought control. There is a difference. And you true thinkers and intellectuals out there, you know I'm right. All right. So almost 17 minutes of me ranting. Enjoy! Now let's get to the music. Now this, I have a couple of reissues in my hands here. Yes, I do. I know I don't buy a lot of reissues, but this is arguably one of my favorite all-time remix albums. This is the Kruder and Dorfmeister K&D Sessions box set. Check that out. I haven't even opened it yet because I'm a lazy bastard, but I already own it. It does have an extra record on it. Let me itch my huge beak. It has an extra record on it of some stuff. As far as I know, it's got some unreleased remixes on it. It's got like an extra 12-inch. It's basically 6 records in here. This is the 25th anniversary of this release, and this is just one of the greatest remix packages of all time. Remix albums don't get better than this. There's a good reason why they're repackaging it and reissuing this in 2024, 25 years later. Peter Kruder Peter Kruder and Dick the Dorfmeister. I want to say they're German, but I think they're Austrian, right? These guys are Austrian. And these guys kind of created a whole remix world. Like they're kind of known for their remixes, not so much their own music. Peter Kruder has done some brilliant stuff under different names like Peace Orchestra. There are different names that these guys have recorded underneath, but you can go dig that up and look it up. But this package has got some of the greatest remixes of all time on it. Such a good package. Some of my favorites on here, the Bug Powder Dust remix they do for Bomb the Bass is on here. The remix they do for Lamb, Trans Fatty Acid, Depeche Mode, Useless is really good. David Holmes, Gone, the Sofa Surfers remix. I mean, there's nothing bad on here. When you see these guys doing a remix, you know it's going to be top shelf, top quality stuff. Anyway, I'm holding that up first. Big old box set. Again, I haven't even opened it. I forget what's in here. Let's see. What does the hype sticker say? Bonus tracks, a photo book, a poster, and some download codes. I look forward to opening that. I haven't opened it yet, so there you go. Takes me a while. All right, let's get into some stuff. All right, here's a record I've had, I don't know, for a while. It's a Future Sound of London 12-inch. I don't even know the name of it. What do we got here? Pre-8A001, some fucking weird name. It's Future Sound of London. I tend to kind of buy, in fact, for you fetishists out there who love to stare at funky colored vinyl, here you go. Kind of like a light blue. Future Sound of London is one of those groups that I tend to buy everything from. I have a extensive Future Sound of London vinyl collection, so when it popped up on Juno, I felt like I needed to buy it. And it's really good, too. I love that these guys are veering away from the amorphous androgynous stuff, that hippy-dippy porno for pyros style shit music they've been making for so long, and they're getting back to the electro. They're getting back to the techno and the house and the ambient. I like it. Future Sound of London, man. You can't go wrong with that. I was happy to get that. This is Nicola Cruz, Canasia. I like Nicola Cruz quite a bit. He creates this unique sound of like electro and techno and folk and even, traditional rock sounds, but he kind of marries it all together. I like his sound. Nobody really sounds like this guy, and that's a hard thing to do. Um, to come up with some new sounds in the 21st century. This is a record that came out, I don't know, like 30 years ago. I'd never heard of it. This is Orion, Holographic Hallucination. I'd never heard of it. This escaped me 30 years ago when it came out, and they reissued it, and I picked it up, and it's really long, kind of epic, old school acid techno type stuff with some dub thrown in there. Sorry, I'm getting blurry here. Every time I show records on this camera, things get blurry. But there you go. There I go. I'm back. It might blur up a little bit here and there. Sorry. This is a Bob Stanley and Pete Wiggs compilation called State of the Union, The American Dream in Crisis. And these two are in Saint Etienne. We all love Saint Etienne, right? They just put out a new album, by the way, and I'll be showing that. But they've been putting out this, on Ace Records, they've been putting out this string of compilations of everything, of Americana and techno pop and jazz and country and western, and they just are showcasing their love of music in all of its forms. And this is their latest compilation, and it's really good, man. All of these have been really good. This is on Funky Colored Wax. I think it's on blue or clear or something. I'm not going to show it, but yeah, they've been putting out a number of really nice compilations over the last decade, really. Always really good. I pick them up just automatically every time. This is, I don't even really know who the artist is here, but this has got a remix by Kuniyuki Takahashi, and you guys know how I feel about him. This is a Japanese record. And yeah, Kuniyuki's on this. That's enough for me. I don't even need to hear it. If Kuniyuki Takahashi is on a record, I buy it. And that's all there is to it. And you should too. Kuniyuki Takahashi. He is a serious talent. This, I don't know if it's the latest Carl Finlow record at this point. It could. He's always been pretty prolific. Sorry, I'm blurring up again. He's always been pretty prolific. This is a newish Carl Finlow record. It's called Boot Loop. Radioactive Man does a remix on here, otherwise known as Keith Tenniswood of Two Lone Swordsmen. Carl Finlow. I've been buying Carl Finlow records for 30 years. This dude's been pumping out music for a long time under different names like Hollowware Squad and Voice Stealer, Silicon Scally. The dude's a legend, all right? And I've been buying his records for 3 decades at least. And he's one of those guys where when I see his name on a record, I pick it up. It's been like that for 3 decades now. He's a producer on another level. And yeah, if there's a Carl Finlow record out there, you should go grab it because he never disappoints. Speaking of artists that don't disappoint, this record's been out for a couple of months at least, maybe 3 or 4, maybe even 6 months. I don't know. This is Axel Bowman. This is his latest 12-inch Space Drag, or is that the name of the label? Space Drag, I think that's the name of the record. Fucking awesome. Axel Bowman's just one of those beasts, man. Like, he just doesn't make bad music. Every single time he puts something out, it's primo, man. And this is no different. This is such a good, definitely one of my favorite records of the year. He just, he has a real talent for making edgy, underground, divergent club music, but also kind of putting a pop spin on it, making weird dance music almost accessible. It's a hard thing to pull off, but he does it. And this is a fucking great record, man. Space Drag, Axel Bowman. Anything Axel Bowman does, you should pick it up. This is another Kuniyuki Takahashi thing. Again, every year Kuniyuki Takahashi's name is on 4 or 5 records, and I just pick them up automatically. The name of this is Beyond Space and Time, Let's Get Down EP. Kuniyuki, Suichi Terada, Sauce 81. I don't know who those other people are. I just know that Kuniyuki's on here. And that's enough reason for me. And this is a really good record. As is anything that Kuniyuki Takahashi does. Oh, here's Wolfgang Press. This got slipped in here. I did a video on this. When I reviewed this earlier in the year, I didn't have the actual record with me yet. But here it is. This would definitely be one of my favorites of the year. I've already done a review on it, so you can go watch that. It's a really nice package, by the way. It comes in a nice glossy inner sleeve. Excellent record. Wolfgang Press. They still live and breathe. And it's a good album, too. They don't suck. This is one of my favorite compilations of the year. This is Post-Punk Theory. This is from Tony Thorpe, kind of the third member of the KLF. Tony Thorpe is otherwise known as Moody Boys. And he put this out, and this is post-punk. I mean, that's what it is. It's called post-punk, and that's exactly what you get here. You get a lot of 80s era punk and disco and electronics being all married into one, that sound. And man, this is a great comp, man. Tony Thorpe really pulls out some classics here. Some of these I'd never even heard of. Some of the artists you'll find on here, and it'll probably give you a nice illustration of what you're getting, is A Certain Ratio, 23 Skidoo, Public Image Limited, Mark Stewart, plenty of groups that I've never heard of. African Head Charge is on here, 400 Blows. Those are just the bands that I've heard of. The other half of these artists, I've never even heard of them. So you get that kind of, you get that 80s era kind of industrial dance, disco, dub, punk fusion. That's what this is, man. And I love that stuff. Love that combination. And it's Tony Thorpe. I always have my eye on whatever he's doing. He doesn't really make a lot of music anymore, but he did put this out. I was excited to see his name on something. Tony Thorpe of the Moody Boys. Who is the Moody Boys? These are records. I was excited to get these. These are all reissues. The band is The Sound. From the Lion's Mouth is the name of this album. It's on orange wax, as you can see. These guys didn't really get any distribution here in the United States and back in the early 80s when they were a thing. Their releases pretty much only came out in Europe, so I only ever had one album from these guys. They had a trio of albums that just got reissued. And I had one of those, and the other ones I'd never heard of. This is one that I'd never heard. And it's really good. It's one of those records where you're like, God damn, I can't believe I went this long without hearing these. Here's Jeopardy. This is the other one that got released that I'd never heard. Jeopardy. And then this is the one that I had, and I don't remember how I picked it up back in the day. I have no recollection. I do have this original issue, All Fall Down, but I bought the reissued because I bought the other ones. So I would highly recommend checking out The Sound. It's just kind of like an early 80s punkish, synth poppy rock thing, kind of hybrid. Really good stuff. And yeah, they never got a big distribution here in the United States, so I don't think a lot of Americans know about this group. I certainly didn't know a lot about them. But they just reissued these 3, and I was happy to get them. They're all really good, and they're all pretty solid pressings. This, I forget, who is this? This is Ichiko Aoba, Japanese artist. This was just kind of electronic, freeform jazz stuff. This was at Juno. Didn't know anything about it. I listened to the sound clips, loved it. I got the record home and listened to the record, and I loved it even more. Ichiko Aoba. You want to learn about new music? Here you go. I'd never heard of this band, this artist. I had no clue. But I know now that I'm a fan. This is a great record. Definitely one of my favorites of the year. This is another compilation on funky colored wax. This is Devo, Recombo DNA. This is just kind of a compilation of like old demo versions and B-sides and alternate takes, and I'm a big Devo fan, as most of us are. You get 4 records stuffed in here. It's a 4-record set, I think, right? There's 4 in here? Yeah. And I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, but yeah, I'm a big Devo fan. Have been for a long time. I was happy to get this. Recombo DNA, Devo. It's Devo, come on. What more reason do you need to buy a record? See, this is something that I was super stoked to get. This is Nexus 21, Mind Machines, unreleased album. You might know Nexus 21 from their other name, Alternate. Do you remember Alternate? They had their little masks on. Alternate was their alter ego that made jungle music, like old school jungle music. Alternate had some fame back in the early 90s. But they also recorded under Nexus 21, which was more of a Detroit techno thing. Like when they wanted to make more straight up techno influenced by Detroit, they would record under Nexus 21. But the majority of their output was as Alternate, because that's where they found their hits. They had an album called Full On Mask Hysteria. I think it was Mask Hysteria. Still have that in my archives. I loved Alternate. Alternate kind of had that early Prodigy feel to them. Really good productions, excellent early drum and bass and jungle stuff. Really nice stuff. Their Nexus 21 stuff is really good too, and I was happy to get this. This is a full unreleased album. The legendary unreleased album, it says here. I have yet to hear this, but I'm excited to hear that. Some people buy old Nirvana albums and relive their youth. I buy Nexus 21 albums and relive my youth. That's how it is around here. I bought this just because I love this track, William Devon, Be Thankful for What You Got. They put it out as a 12-inch. It's all on one side. Then you've got Blood is Thicker Than Water on the B side. I just love the fact that the song has its one full side to breathe on. It's such a good song. And I don't know, I guess that original label's still here. Roxbury? I mean, that's the original label it came out on, 50 years ago or whatever it was. Just a big fan of that song. I mentioned this before. Here's the new Saint Etienne, The Night, the new album from one of our favorites. Again, this is just one of those bands that if they put something out, I buy it. I have for over 30 years now. I can't imagine not getting a new Saint Etienne album whenever one comes out. Here it is, The Night. Have you heard it yet? It's pretty good. These guys are just, they're untouchable at this point. And this is a record that I already have, but it has some bonus stuff. And I like the album enough where I bought it again. This is like a new edition of Kim Gordon's Collective album. Comes with a 7-inch. It comes with a little obi strip, Japanese style. It's on clear colored wax. Again, I already have it, but the fact that they put this on here and they threw the 7-inch in there, I thought, screw it, I'm going to pick it up. I really like this album. Definitely one of my favorites of the year. Enjoy it. Enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it. This is a very limited G.G. Mason album that I picked up. G.G. Mason. In fact, I think there are only a few hundred of this made, yeah. Um, Limited edition clear vinyl. They're numbered. This is number 117 out of 200. So, not a record that you see many of. And it's G.G. Mason. You know what you're getting. And that's a good thing. If you don't know G.G. Mason, he's a master of ambience. Ambient music master. And pretty much everything I've ever heard from G.G. Mason is fantastic. Top shelf shit. Right here. G.G. Mason. Super limited. I love that. This is just one of my all-time favorite albums. This is On the Beach, Neil Young. They pressed this on clear wax, as you can see, from the original analog tapes. It sounds good. I don't know. When I listened to it, it sounded every bit as good as the original press. This is one of those I kind of waffled on. I already have the original. I also have it as part of another box set. I have a high quality digital version, but I do love this album, and I know I love Neil Young. And I was curious to hear the quality of this, and it sounds really good. So if you're on the fence, as I was, in terms of buying yet another copy of On the Beach, I would highly recommend picking this up. Arguably Neil Young's best album. I know obviously it's Neil Young. There is plenty of conversation and debate to go on about Neil Young's best album. It's just a matter of taste. For me personally, this is one of his best. I'm not going to say it's his best. It just seems weird to, out of every brilliant album Neil Young has put out, to say this is his best. I don't know. I think that would be lazy, but it's one of his best. One of my favorites. One of my favorites. Let me just say that. Keep going. I'm going to keep on going, man. Yes. This is, I don't even remember the name of the artist on this. This will be a mystery for you. But this was kind of like an ambient dub landscape type sounding album. And I don't even remember the artist's name, and it's not on here. On the back it says Burning World Records, number 150 of 300. I don't even remember the name of the artist, and I don't really care. It doesn't matter. This was really good. If you like ambient dub style with some sci-fi-ness to it, can't go wrong here. And I know I know you'd have no idea how to find it, but oh well. This is a random 12-inch I picked up recently, third place, Spectral. This remix is really cool. It's if you were to put it in a genre, I guess it would be like Balearic House, which I like a lot. It's house music, but it's got that summery kind of light jazzy vibe to it, kind of. I mean, I say that loosely. I mean, it's house music, but smooth, nice, almost jazzy, Balearic house music. Really nice stuff. Really like this cover too. It's kind of makes me feel good looking at it. Makes me feel good listening to it. This is a compilation I was happy to get. It's got some heavyweights on here. Mainly, it's got Musique, Mike Paradinas. It's got Plaid. It's got some exclusive tracks from some of my favorite electronic artists on here. The fact that Plaid and Musique were both on here was enough. And the rest of the compilation is really nice. If you like quirky electronic music that isn't pigeonholed into a certain genre, you'll appreciate this comp. What is the name of this comp? I don't remember. Again, I buy records because of artists that are on it. This is called Vint, V-I-N-T. That might be the label. I don't know. But if you're interested, just go search for Plaid and Music. It'll pop up somehow. I know. Sorry. I can't give you every single detail you want. Oh, this is a reissue. I had to get this. This is The Beloved Conscience. They just reissued this on double vinyl. This original album came out 30 years ago, or God, before that, right? 1992, I guess. Yeah, 32 years ago. This is like an hour-long album, and it was pressed onto one record at the time. And it was never a great pressing because of that. They just expanded it though. They basically, it's the same album, same track listing in the same order, same sequencing, but it's on two records. And it sounds good. Yeah. And I love this album. This is one of my favorite pop albums, really, of the 90s. It's just hit after hit, man. The Beloved they hit their peak. John Marsh hit his peak here. All the singles that surround this album are great. All the remixes, Sweet Harmony, Outer Space Girl, 1,000 Years from Today, Rock to the Rhythm of Love. Great songs, great singles. Celebrate Your Life, filled with great singles. What am I missing? I feel like there's another single that I'm not. You've Got Me Thinking. That was kind of like a spliced single with Celebrate Your Life. Anyway, it's filled with hits, and they reissued it. Had to get this one. I was super stoked to get that one. And then this is going to be the last one. Good. I've been going for over 40 minutes now. It's enough. This might be my compilation of the year. I just picked this up. Just came in the mail. This is Samurai Music Hayaku. I don't know. This is fucking badass. This is the best drum and bass release I've heard this year. And those of you who have watched my ASC videos, I interviewed James Clements earlier this year. He releases stuff on this label. This is just a fantastic label that puts out fantastic jungle and drum and bass and ambient style music. And they have a compilation here full of tracks that were only released here. In fact, ASC is on here. James does a track on here. James, by the way, if you're watching this, your song arguably is the best fucking thing on here. I'm not just saying that. James, you crushed it, as you always do. James has got one speed, and it's crush speed. But everything on here is fucking awesome. I am going to show this to you guys because this is some freaky colored vinyl. And I think it warrants being shown. Each record has its own inner sleeve. It's really nice packaging, really nice presentation. Samurai usually does a very nice job of presenting their records. But you get some really freaky colored vinyl here, which I very much enjoy. Kind of like this smoky black marble vibe. Almost like a fog machine. Look at that. Very cool. Almost like a Rorschach painting or something. That's disc 1. And yeah, this is just fantastic drum and bass and jungle music from start to finish. Every one of these discs. It's just excellent. That's disc 2. Flip it over. Look at that. Some really intense color palettes going on there. And it sounds great, by the way. Pressed very well. In fact, I think, James, your track is on this second disc, right? Am I right? Yeah, maybe not. Maybe it's on the... That was the first disc. What am I looking at here? There you are. James's track is called S100. He is on the second disc. So these discs were not in here in order. That is okay. Yeah. You get Brendan Moeller on here. I mean, it's a impenetrable list of artists here. Wow, look at this one. Hey, check that out. Intense. Like you just got hit in the head with a billow of smoke. Yeah, really cool presentation. It fits the music and the vibe very well. Yeah, if I were to pick a compilation of the year, I might pick this. Samurai Music Hayaku. Whatever the fuck, cool. Awesome stuff, man. Really, really beautiful package, beautifully presented, and the music is just killer, man. Killer. Why are you not going back into the sleeve? Okay, it's not going back in there. Anyway, awesome stuff. And there's my video of newish things. Hope you had a good year. I'll see you in the new year. I'm going to get the hell out of here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me for yet another year. What will next year bring? I have no idea, but I hope you stick with me and find out. Later.